Hello everyone, it's Shel C from PaperOcotilloStudio, and this morning I had a quick play in my Arteza watercolor journal, still playing with water-soluble media for Art Joy of Sharing Art Community on Facebook. That's our theme this month all the way to the end of February, and so I decided to play with some gelatos from Faber-Castell and some Dina Wakley scribble sticks as my water-soluble media for this little quick sketch. I made these sketches, I don't know, last week or the week before. This is a very simple little landscape, and it is, of course, on the back of the page. So maybe the back of the paper reacts a little bit different than the front of the paper in this book. I'm not really sure, but also keep in mind, as I'm going through talking about these products, that I do live in a very dry climate, and perhaps maybe my gelatos have been drying out in the drawer. They don't seem very creamy or blendable at this point. So it could be that, or it could be maybe they just aren't that blendable. But I remember them being more blendable than this. So I first started out with wetting my paper with my better quality watercolor brush. I got a lot of good water on there, and then I applied the gelato directly to the paper to begin with this light blue color, and I quickly decided that it wasn't going to blend out very well. It would give me that kind of grungy, scratchy look, which I actually decided in the end to embrace. It looks very mixed media, and these products are designed in the mixed media realm of products. So maybe just embrace it instead of fussing about it. But when I use a watercolor, I expect it to blend a little bit better. These remain looking kind of scratchy and chunky and a cool look, just not what I was expecting when I first started out. So I do have a piece of palette paper on the right hand side, and I decide to try drawing some of it or scribbling some of the gelato onto the paper, which is like a plastic coated paper, and then picking it up with the brush, which does give more of a watercolor effect. After using high quality, like Daniel Smith and Core and all those actual watercolors, this isn't a very good substitute for what a watercolor can actually do. The granulation and the interesting different ways that it blends and fades out and does more interesting stuff. This is a water soluble product, but not a watercolor. So still fun, but very different. So then I decided to grab one of the scribble sticks. These are a Ranger produced product for under Dina Wakley, and it is exactly what it says it is. It's a scribble stick. It scribbles, it makes marks, very mixed media effect, probably really great in combination with acrylics. But as far as trying to get it to blend, it ain't going to blend. It probably would blend with acrylic maybe. And at some point I'll try that. I'll try to write some of it on some sort of substrate and then blend it out with gesso maybe. But with water, it was not blending. I did take the stick and dip it into the water to get it a little bit more wet, and then tried coloring with it, but it really just kind of reminds me of a crayon, and more of a crayon-like effect than the Neocolor 2 crayons, which are my favorite one of these particular style of products. There's a lot of them. They got everything from the gelatos and the lipsticks type containers to different types of crayons like scribble sticks, distress crayons. There's a lot of this type of product out there. Someone started with one, and then everybody decided they had to have something like that in their line. And some of them were creamier, and some of them are more waxy. And these particular scribble sticks are just, to me, a lot more waxy and firm and scratchy. And so I'm using the two different products with each other. The gelatos are more creamy And I did actually discover at the end that what I should have been doing, and I knew this, I just forgot, is to blend them directly with like a wet paper towel or a baby wipe. They blend a lot better that way than with a brush. And I'd forgotten that. I haven't used them in a long time because, you pick up a product and you're like, this is going to be fun. And then you end up saying, I don't like it that much. I like this other one that's similar a lot better. And that is what has happened with me. I really, really love Neocolor 2 water soluble crayons from Crayon Dash. And so these two products stay in the drawer a lot more often and don't get pulled out because I have a preference. And the only way that you know you're going to have a preference is if you buy the thing or you try out someone else's or you see someone like me talking about it. Um, Perhaps someone else really loves gelatos. I'm sure there are people who really love gelatos. And if you're one of those, then you can comment below and you can tell me, have you ever used Neocolor 2 water soluble crayons, and then tell me if you prefer gelatos over them, because that would be interesting to me. It's a different product, kind of the same but different. So I switched to my synthetic brush, which is a water tank brush. It has water inside the tank in the handle, and you can squeeze the little red button in the middle to let out the water, thinking that it might kind of scrub the paper better and get a little bit more of a blend. But at this point, I've decided that I'm just going to embrace the the kind of grungy, scratchy mixed media look of it and stop fussing about trying to get a smooth blend because it's just not going to happen. I did take out the crayons, I mean, not the crayons, but the gelatos, and just like use the edge of them to make my leaves. And that actually worked out really well. The only thing that happened with that is that I had some like little boogers. I had gelato boogers, little crumbly bits on there that I had to brush off. And I first tried to clean them up with my brush, and then I decided to just brush them off at the end. I do think that I might hit this with some workable fixative and let it dry before I close the page, because I have this feeling that some of that is going to come off on the other opposing page. I feel like I put so much product on there that there might be some transfer. So I can do that, or I could actually seal it up with some beeswax polish or something like that too. Or even just spray it with a sealer. But I am going to do that before I close the page. I have a sketchy drawing of a rose on the other side that I want to watercolor, so I don't want these colors to get on it. So I'm still dipping the scribble sticks in the water and then applying them, the different colors, trying the turquoise, just, adding more color, making it more interesting. I used the very basic colors of the scene at first, and then I decided maybe at the end that I would add some other colors that wouldn't necessarily be there, like pink and orange in different areas. Not too much crazy color, but just a little bit. So then I decided maybe I could add some highlights with some India ink. India ink will behave like a watercolor. And I've done this a lot with the PH Martin's India ink sets that I have, which are all kind of drying out now. But when they're wet, they behave a lot like maybe a gouache, an opaque type of a watercolor, fluid type, blendable until they're dry. Once they're dry, they're permanent. And so if you really like the look of water soluble media, but you want something to layer in with your mixed media projects where you're adding, acrylics and different collage and things, and you don't want something that will move, you want something that'll dry permanently, India inks are a good choice. And that's what I've been using them for. You'll see videos. I mean, there's so many videos on my channel, and now I think there's almost 800 that I've used India inks in a way that resembles watercolor. I will link some video with that in the iCard or on the end screens. so you can go and watch one. But it's more opaque, and this white is, of course, very opaque because white is one of the most opaque colors in any product. And then I decided to add in a little bit of darks with my Stabilo All pencil, which is a highly water reactive pencil. Um, it's called a Marks All. It's supposed to write on anything, but I just like to use it because when you touch it with water, it blends very, very, very easily. So I added a little bit of dark back into to everything with that. More control than trying to use, say, the black gelato for that purpose because they are fat on the ends. And then I just decided, you know what, I'm gonna go back direct to paper with a little bit of this white and turquoise gelato, just for interest, add a little bit more color here and there. I kind of like that look of the shadow around things and then it lighter in the middle. It's sort of kind of a signature look that I do a lot. So this is when I realized I could blend with, first I was dipping my finger and then I remembered, oh yeah, I can just do it with a piece of paper towel that has a little moisture on it and it'll give me a little bit more blending and clean up some of those boogers. So that is it for me for this quick play today. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please remember to give it a thumbs up, leave me a comment below, subscribe if you haven't already, turn on your notification bells, and of course, you can share this if you want to on Pinterest or Facebook. Any of those things really help out my channel by allowing other people to find me, and they might find something interesting in this quickie video. That's it for me. Thanks. Bye-bye.